Abyssal love, the prince's vow. A prince of the land and a prince of the sea set sail on a journey where hearts lead the way. Bound by a vow deeper than the tides, their love becomes the light that guides them through every storm. Chapter 6. The Secret Light Beneath the Falls. Beyond the edge of known waters where dreams breathe in silver mist, two hearts set sail toward the stars, chasing a haven the world has forgotten. The eastern sky was brushed with hues of molten gold and tender orange, as the first light of dawn filtered through a gossamer mist, casting a shimmering glow across the surface of the sea. The ocean stretched out smooth as polished glass, every gentle ripple catching the nascent light, whispering soft greetings to the newborn day. A delicate breeze stirred the sails, carrying the brine and freshness of the open waters, and with it, the promise of adventure. A sleek, sturdy, single-masted sailboat cut across the mirrored surface, its white sail billowing proudly. Though the deck was modest in size, it was more than ample for the two young men and the scant necessities they carried into the unknown. The wooden deck, kissed by the morning sun, gleamed with a mellow luster, creaking now and then as if murmuring the tale of this new voyage. At the helm stood Adrian, both hands gripping the wheel with steady confidence. His blue eyes sparkled with exhilaration, the wind tousling his golden hair into a sunlit halo. A carefree smile played at the corners of his mouth. This was the first day of their journey, and the ocean, boundless and untamed, stretched out before them, brimming with infinite possibilities. Lucian lounged by the railing, his long fingers trailing through the water, stirring it into gleaming eddies that caught the sun. His silver blue tail had transformed into human legs for this crossing, the adjustment visible in the way his feet dangled just brushing the deck. Glancing up at Adrian, he flashed a teasing smirk. "Not bad," he said lazily. "Your steering skills seem decent. At least we haven't ended up sailing in circles." Adrian raised an eyebrow, a touch of pride glinting in his expression. With a deft adjustment of the wheel, he kept the boat aligned with the morning breeze. "I practiced in the kingdom's harbor since I was a child," he said matter-of-factly. Lucian chuckled, the sound low and amused. "But this isn't the kingdom's harbor. This is the open ocean. The real challenge is only just beginning." Adrian's gaze drifted to the endless horizon. The sunlight painted his features with a soft, golden glow, sharpening the determination in his eyes. He breathed deeply, feeling the sea breeze fill his lungs, feeling his heartbeat sync with the pulse of the waves. Never had he felt so alive. Lucian tilted his face upward, watching the last stars fade into the brightening sky. A thoughtful smile curved his lips. "No matter what," he murmured, "we finally set sail." Adrian turned toward him, and in that brief meeting of their eyes, framed by the tender light of dawn, a silent understanding passed between them, an unspoken pact to embrace the vast unknown ahead. This was only the beginning. Without warning, a silver flash broke the mirror-like surface of the sea. A single flying fish burst into the air, its scales catching the sunlight in a dazzling arc. Then, as if answering a call, hundreds followed, leaping like falling stars, their bodies tracing graceful paths before slipping back into the water, leaving a trail of ripples that danced across the waves. Adrian gasped in delight, stretching out a hand toward the shimmering creatures. One darted close to his fingers before veering away, vanishing with a silver gleam. Laughing, Adrian shook his head, his eyes alight with childlike wonder. Beneath the waves, Lucian gilded effortlessly, his silver blue tail flickering like a shard of the morning sky. He moved among the flying fish with practiced ease, his hand sending ripples that coaxed them into spiraling patterns around him. Tilting his face upward, he gazed at Adrian through the shifting water, his expression soft with unspoken affection. "They won't let you catch them so easily," Lucian's voice echoed teasingly from below. Adrian grinned, undeterred. Leaning over the rail, he called down with a mischievous glint in his eye, "And what about you? Would you be easier to catch than a flying fish?" Lucian's chuckle rippled through the water. With a flick of his tail, he circled the boat, creating a shimmering halo of spray. Then, gathering momentum, he shot out of the sea like a silver arrow, droplets cascading from his body in a sparkling rain. For an instant, time seemed to hold its breath. Lucian arched above the deck, sunlight fracturing through the mist around him, his face so close to Adrian's that their breaths could almost mingle. "Do you want to try?" Lucian's voice was low and teasing, a secret woven into the air between them. Adrian's heart thudded against his ribs. Laughing to cover his sudden rush of nerves, he shook his head. "You're more slippery than a fish," he said, grinning broadly. "Though." Morning sun rose higher, painting the ocean in shimmering hues of gold and sapphire. The flying fish continued their wild ballet, and amidst the endless expanse of sea and sky, Adrian and Lucian lost themselves in playful banter, their laughter carried far by the wind. By afternoon, the sun hung high, casting shimmering patterns across the restless waters. The boat swayed, gently with the rhythm of the waves, cradled by the vastness around them. Side by side, Adrian and Lucian sat on the sun-warmed deck. Adrian dangled his legs over the edge, while Lucian's tail swayed lazily in the cool water, sending up little splashes. Adrian cast a casual glance at the glimmering tail. "Honestly," he said, "your tail seems way more practical than legs. Faster, easier, and I bet it's perfect for kicking people too." Lucian smirked, lifting his tail in a mock threat. "Care to test that theory?" Adrian scooted away, laughing. "No thanks, I'd prefer not to be smacked into the sea by a giant fishtail." Lucian hummed in mock satisfaction, basking in the warm sun. After a moment, he eyed Adrian's legs thoughtfully. "But, really?" he mused. "Walking on two legs seems unnecessarily complicated. You could trip at any moment." Adrian shrugged, grinning. "You get used to it. Besides, I can run on deck just fine. Unlike some people," Lucian arched an elegant brow. "Are you implying I can't walk?" "I never said that," Adrian said smoothly. "But I do recall someone tripping spectacularly the very first time they got legs." Lucian's lips twitched. He held Adrian's gaze for a long second, then, with a faint glow of blue light, transformed his tail back into a pair of long, shapely legs. Standing with deliberate poise, he took a step forward, steady as a stone. "See?" he said, his voice filled with mock dignity. "Perfectly fine." Adrian folded his arms, unimpressed. "All right then, run a few steps." Lucian blinked, glancing at the shifting deck. He hesitated. Then, with a dignified huff, his legs shimmered back into a tail. "The deck's too slippery," he declared loftily. Adrian laughed so hard he had to clutch the railing. "You're just afraid of falling." In retaliation, Lucian flicked his tail, sending a splash of cold seawater straight into Adrian's face. Adrian wiped his dripping hair back, scowling half-heartedly. "You really are a petty fish." Lucian leaned back against the railing, smirking like a cat basking in the sun. "Remember that next time you think of mocking me. I might not be so merciful." Adrian chuckled, shaking the water from his arms. "Fine. Fine. Next time I'll be sure to compliment you, like how majestic your tail is." Lucian lifted an eyebrow, pleased. "That's more like it." Their laughter merged with the music of the sea as the sailboat drifted onward, carrying them deeper into the unknown. As the sun began to dip westward, they at last reached the golden shores of an island. Soft sand cushioned their steps, and coconut trees swayed gently overhead, their leaves rustling in the afternoon breeze. Seagulls circled high in the vivid azure sky, and the air was rich with the mingled scents of salt and tropical blooms. Lucian's tail shifted once more into legs, and he stood barefoot on the sand, marveling at the solidity beneath him. He curled his toes into the warm grains, a quiet smile softening his face. "It's been so long since I've felt this grounded," he murmured, voice touched with wonder. Adrian had already discarded his shoes, striding barefoot along the shoreline. Turning back, he flashed a grin at Lucian. "I like seeing you this way," he said simply. "It feels like you're part of this world." Together they followed the curve of the beach, the lush foliage gradually closing in around them, The air grew dense with the scents of earth and blossom, and shafts of golden light pierced through the thick canopy, casting dappled patterns along the path. Then the distant sound of rushing water reached their ears, the steady roar of a waterfall hidden deep within the island's heart. They exchanged a glance, excitement stirring anew. After days at sea, nothing could be more inviting. Scrambling over jagged rocks and through veils of hanging vines, they pushed into the cool shadows. And then, they found it. A waterfall tumbled in silvery sheets from a high cliff, not massive, but wide, the water crashing into a clear rocky pool below. Mist rose in a fine spray, and a delicate rainbow arched across the sunlit droplets, painting the air with ephemeral color. Without hesitation, Adrian stripped off his shirt, grinning. Over his shoulder at Lucian. "Let's go." Lucian needed no further invitation. They plunged into the cool water, the current swirling around them in an invigorating embrace. The chill shocked their skin, drawing gasps and laughter alike as they splashed and dove beneath the falls. Lucian, true to form, sent a playful wave toward Adrian, who retaliated with a shout and a gleaming arc of water. For a while there was nothing but the sound of their laughter mingling with the roar of the falls, a pure and simple joy. But as the mist swirled around them, Adrian's keen gaze caught a glimmer hidden behind the veil of water. "Lucian," he called, pointing. "Look over there." Behind the falls, shrouded in mist and shadow, a dark hollow yawned in the cliff face. Within, faint lights flickered like distant stars. Curiosity sparked between them. Without hesitation, hand in hand, they stepped through the tumbling curtain and into the secret cave beyond. Inside, the world changed. The dark cavern glowed softly, with thousands of tiny lights. Birds perched along the stone walls, their feathers emitting a gentle, star-like radiance. It was as though they had stepped into the heart of the Milky Way itself. "They're night-glow birds," Lucian whispered in awe. "They roost in caves during the day. Their wings glow to help them see at night." Adrian held his breath, awed by the ethereal beauty. Lucian drifted closer, drawn to a hollow where several tiny chicks slept. Their translucent bodies shimmered faintly, each tiny heartbeat visible through their fragile skin, like newly kindled stars. He reached out instinctively, but Adrian caught his hand with a quiet smile. "Let them rest," he murmured. Lucian grinned, sticking out his tongue in mock surrender. Then, without letting go of Adrian's hand, he gently laced their fingers together. "Let's go," he said softly. And so, hand in hand, they walked deeper, into the dreamlike cavern, stars glowing all around them as their journey unfolded into realms unknown. Hand in hand, beneath 1,000 newborn stars, they stepped into the mystery where destiny stirred. And so, beneath moonlit waves and starlit skies, their vow echoes on, unchanged by time, unshaken by fate. Thank you for listening to Abyssal Love, The Prince's Vow, a tale of love born in childhood, tested by the tides, and sealed in the depths of the heart. Written by Elian Cloud, narrated by an AI voice. May their story linger with you like the ocean's song, eternal and ever returning.